Talk about taking these guys back to the scene of the crime. Take us back to when you and your colleagues first came up with this genius idea of going into maximum security prisons to interview serial killers about their crimes and why they committed them. And maybe we could use Big Ed Kemper as an example of this process in action.
Kemper was really one of the first ones. And just so you know, Jay, why I did this was because at Quantico, I was transferred back to the FBI Academy at 32 years of age, like Holden Ford, in the same age. But my background was probably a lot better than Holden Ford's. I had 4 years in the military. I had 7 years as an FBI agent on a SWAT team. Also a sniper on the SWAT team. I was trained, a hostage negotiator, a couple of advanced degrees, and then so now I'm back at Quantico. And the reason I wanted to interview people like Kemper was because I'm sitting in classes auditing instructors, and they're getting their facts wrong about the case according to the students. Someone will raise their hand and say, "Hey, Mr. So-and-so, you're crazy. Your facts are totally wrong. I worked the case." So I'm thinking, holy mackerel, I got to get out there. If I'm in California, I got to interview Kemper. So I did. So I go in there, but I know the case. I studied the case before I go in. And this is what's different about the show, okay? I did not go in there with a 30-pound tape recorder. I don't have a 30-pound tape recorder. I've only used, and my partner and I then only used the tape recorder once, and it was a small cassette tape recorder. After that interview with Kemper, no more, because inmates, and they should be, they're paranoid. Who's going to be listening to this tape? Where are you going with this tape? With this tape, is the warden going to hear this? What I'm saying here, and notes, no note taking. I don't take notes. I don't take notes at all, because I want eye contact. I want eye contact. I want to have a conversation. I don't want to have an interrogation. I don't. I'm not doing like an application for an interview. I'm not interviewing him. I want him to ask me questions as well. So I got all this information. We will develop a 57-page computerized interview protocol with Dr. Ann Burgess, who's the nurse, or she's a psychologist in the show, but really Dr. Burgess is a psychiatric nurse. And she's not going to tell me or my partner how to do interviews. She's going to help us put together this forum where we're going to ask thousands of questions. But I can't go in there and say, okay, now, what day did you perpetrate the first crime, and why? No, I'm going to fill out most of it before we go in, and the rest I'm going to memorize the types of questions that'll have to do with victim selection, pre-offense behavior, post-offense behavior, all these types of things, trying to figure out the whys, the motivation. So here comes Kemper. Kemper comes in. I'm 6'2". How you doing, Ed? How you doing? He's monstrous, smart. He's smart. He has 145 IQ. In fact, I tell people that was the equivalent of me and my partner's total IQ. The two of us, we make about 100. We were about 145. So he comes in. The biggest problem, and it's so different. There were times during my interview I had to say, Ed, shut the hell up. Will you listen to the question? I'm trying to ask you certain questions. But you know why? You know why, Jake? Because this was his greatest achievement in life. This was like turning on a tape recorder in that brain, and he just going to go through everything, the chronology and all the specific details. But there are certain things I want to know. I got to know to help investigators, and could we have caught him sooner? Is there anything in his background that could have identified him sooner? But the guy, he, if anything, I project false empathy, but really what was disturbing about it is he never should have been a serial killer. Had he had the background, a mother who loved him, was and provided nurture and comfort, a father who abandoned him at a very, very early age, and the abusiveness that he had to receive at the hands of his mother. It's not excuse, but I understand why he took that next step. And the next step was to kill college co-eds. And why college co-eds? Because his mother said those college co-eds, they're too good for you. You'll never meet a college co-ed, and they'll never go out with somebody like you. So, well, he's going to show mom. He's not going to go out with him. He's going to kill him. That's what he's going to do.
Take viewers inside the Charlie Manson interview, if you would. That was unique to the way you approached it, and really important to solidifying the program within the Bureau.
Manson was another one. It was that they were teaching at Quantico, and there were LAPD cops in the class sometimes, and they would say, "No, your facts are wrong, Mr. So and so." So we're in California. We used to do road schools in those days. That means you go out for 2 weeks at a time, just like in the show Mindhunter. You spend a week maybe in Boise, Idaho, and you got a week LAPD or regionally LAPD and LASO. Let's go interview Manson. The big thing about Manson was, and he did a great job in the show, the Mindhunter show, is he's a little guy. And now I'm 6'2". Now, what these guys are doing, and when they perpetrate their crimes too, it's all about power and control. I have to give them this sense of power control over me. Even Kemper, as big as he is, I have to kind of go back and lean back. With Manson, I knew damn well that he was going to probably want to stand over me. So we made sure we had a credenza in the interview environment, so that during the interview, what he could do is get up on top of the credenza. Why did I know that? Because when he was at the George Spahn Ranch, teaching his followers, he would sit up on top of a rock and preach to them or play his guitar to them. So he comes walking in, little guy, real charismatic, but he would like us. Unlike some of the interviews you may see on YouTube of him, well, he'll just manipulate reporters like up and down and journalists. We had the facts of the case. We knew the case, and what's weird to probably somebody watching, we'll be laughing with these people. We'll make light of certain things. We're trying to project this false empathy, but and the mission is to gain knowledge and information. And the only way, I can't be doing that is, oh, they should have executed you. Oh, you're disgusting. No. I have to walk in the shoes of these individuals. So Manson comes in, sure enough, sits up on top of the fence, and we're like the followers watching him, and he's going to lecture us. But I soon found out with him, he was never busted for being a killer. He's not. People have heard him as a serial killer. He wasn't a serial killer. He may have killed. They never got him on a homicide. They got him on conspiracy, but he was a fantastic manipulator, and he wasn't an attractive guy. It was just kind of would mesmerize you. Speaking with him, he would send like Tex Watson out to do some of the recruiting. He was a better looking guy, bringing them back. But what he would do was he knew these kids. He was a profiler, Manson. A lot of these killers are profilers. He knew that they were running away from their families, the God Almighty dollar during that period of time in the 60s, looking for something outside of money and fancy homes and cars. And here he gets out of prison. He's at San Quentin, and he's in Ashbury and San Francisco, and he sees all these make love, not war. It's perfect for him. Plays a little guitar here. So he knew he would have sex when he'd have sex with these victims. He would have them, not victims and family members. He would have them fantasize, and he would script them. We call scripting, to talk that they're having sex with their father, and so he could maintain his dominance. And he would drug them up somewhat, but he would not take any drugs himself, or maybe marijuana. Why? Again, because he had to be in control. So he was an excellent interview, and from learning, because then you could see, later on, you could see cases like David Koresh and Ruby Ridge, that charismatic leader. You can see that, or Jim Jones in Guyana, how someone like that could have followers, and so he was really interesting.
So to be clear, you had to employ basically a photographic memory, then go in and reconstruct these interviews afterward.
Yeah, that was just because I was involved in the making of that, and it's 57 pages long. So, and then I used the same thing when we would when I was doing with Ken Baker, the Secret Service agent. We were doing assassination research. No, we'd fill out as much as the form as we can from the prison records, police records. Then we go in and then right after the interview, we go get ourselves a bottle of booze, and we go to a motel room, and no fancy. We're on the government workers, no fancy Hyatt Regency for us, and we start writing and filling out the form and what we observed, and so that we can apply this to to other cases. And what's surprising, you would have thought Secret Service had something like I was developing. They didn't have anything like this at all. I actually helped Secret Service on a couple of cases when I was new back at Quantico, and then they end up sending their agents like one at a time, and along with Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms, understudying us. And there were some great people, and now they utilize this.